Hey, girlfriends! Not sure who's online. I'm gonna wait and see who gets on, but yeah, let's see what's going on. This live is actually not gonna be. Actually, you know what? Yes, I will share it. I will definitely share this. I don't know if it's gonna stay on the page, but we'll see. We shall see. So, let me see who's here. I don't see anybody just yet. If this does decide to stay alive, this actual this live stream is going to be including myself and Amanda from Uptight Curls of Amanda, and we're just going to be talking about, you know, what Amanda's natural hair regimen looks like. You know, what does she do to keep her hair growing strong? You know, the things that I do with my fine natural hair to keep it growing strong as well too, and gaining that healthy length retention. So it's gonna be really fun, super, like, not really formal, very informal discussion, just to kind of enjoy natural hair and, like, you know, what we do with it on this Sunday afternoon. So just waiting to see if this is even live, which it looks like it is not, or maybe it is. Let's see. Waiting to see if okay, so this is the background. If you guys are here, let me know. Just give me a yes in the chat, and then that will let me know that you guys are actually with us. And I am gonna go ahead and check in the background, because there's been times when I thought it was live and the live was actually private for some reason. So I'm not sure why that happened, but hopefully that's not what's happening today. And if no one gets on here by, I want to say maybe 3:05-ish, then I'll just bring Amanda on anyways, because we are a little bit on a time crunch today, unfortunately. So I'm just gonna go ahead. If you guys will bear with me, whoever's there, I can't see at this moment whoever's there, just because I'm in the background trying to figure it out on the other end of things. So I see it's public. Okay, perfect. And I also see that there's one person here, so hi. I'm gonna go ahead and bring Amanda on. It's 3:02. Let's see. Hi, Amanda. How's it going? Good.
I actually figured out a setup too. I know that I spent like 10 minutes trying to get my setup so it didn't look like the camera was pointing upward. But I figured I would just set it up like a record video. So
yeah.
That solved it. Looks less awkward now.
So what's up? How's your Sunday going?
My Sunday. I don't know. I spent like 3 hours cooking and then cleaning up after breakfast. So that was pretty much my day so far. And then I recorded a video, and then I scarfed down a very quick snack, and now I'm here.
Oh, that's awesome.
I try to do like a legit breakfast once a week,
right,
like on Saturday or Sunday. And my sister and her family are staying with us. Like they stayed with us last night, so I figured I would do it today. So I did grits with vegan cheese, hemp hearts, and hot sauce, like a whole bunch of hot sauce.
Well, that sounds yummy.
Like a bunch of vegetables, so like cauliflower. And zucchini and onion and a whole bunch of stuff, and
nice,
and tofu.
So good. What would you like? We're jumping into hair talk today, so like, what would you say is the texture, the density, and the porosity? Like, it's totally different than mine.
Yes. So I have coarse strands, but like you, I am low porosity. My density, I actually used to think was high, but given like my sister's hair, which I recently actually really looked at for the first time. Now that I'm like into hair, I'm like noticing things more often.
Right.
I feel like I couldn't look at her hair and my hair and call my hair high density. She has high density hair. So now I say I have medium to high density. But it's one of those things where like growing up, it was kind of like a discrimination thing. I feel like people would say like, you have to get relaxer because your hair is too thick. So like, I can't deal with your hair. We need to relax it. But I mean, I see my hair now. My hair is actually pretty easy to manage because I'm not a hairstylist, but I do a pretty good job of taking care of my own hair. Right. And my hair is actually it's not that thick. If you're going to say like thickness is
really interesting what you said about like, you know, people like saying that your hair is too thick and then like you need to relax, or like, do you find that translates to like when you get your hair done at the salon now that it's natural? Like,
I don't get my hair done at the salon now that I'm natural. So I haven't gotten my hair done I went for the first time to get my hair done at a salon. It was actually February 7th, the day that I did my big chop, February 7th of 2020. And I had actually, at that point, I had been transitioning for a year. I big chopped at home December 19th, but it was a hack job. So I went to a salon to get like a real big chop done.
Mm-hmm.
But again, for like a year, I had been doing my hair on my own. Like I was not going to the hairdresser, which I used to do every 2 weeks.
Right.
And it was a lot of time because like when you have transitioning hair, you know, between the two textures, it takes forever to do your hair. So I went to a salon for my big chop and I'm like, wow, I'm going to sit down here. I had my laptop, so I was working and someone else is going to do my hair. This is amazing. So I actually told them that I was going to come every 3 months. And we said 3 months because I was going to get a trim every 3 months. And I was like, you know what? Every 3 months, I'm going to give myself a break. I'm going to let them do my hair. But again, this was February 7th, 2020. Come March, you know, we all went into lockdown. So I had to cancel my next appointment. And at this point, I also feel like my hair is a lot more manageable because I know it. I mean, like at that point, it was like day one of my big chop. I didn't know what I was doing. So it was so much effort. I didn't really know what I was doing. Nothing ever really came out that well. But I feel like I've gotten a pretty good handle on at this point.
Right.
I don't know what I would go to a hairdresser for at this point.
So what would you think your hair struggles like when you do your hair yourself?
So they've evolved over time. Like I feel like I don't really have as many hair struggles at this point because I would say yes, okay, when I was transitioning, like detangling my hair, that was my struggle. And then when my hair was a lot shorter, my struggle was coiling my ends. Like I was talking about like coiling because my ends are, and like when I say my ends, I don't mean like the ends that I have in my hair right now. For some reason, whatever hair is at the bottom of my strand is dry. It's dry. It's puffy, not puffy. It's dry and it's kind of like very voluminous, and it's just very hard to like just tame. So when my hair was shorter, if I tried to do like a thicker section, my like it just wouldn't coil. Right. So that was always a struggle for me. But now that my hair is longer, I can actually coil and I can do smaller sections, and it takes a little bit less time. So I will say like right now, even though like my struggles are much less than they used to be, I struggle with just how long it takes to style my hair. Yeah. I've gotten it down from like, it used to take me an hour and a half it used to take me about 2 hours to twist my hair, 2 hours and 45 minutes to braid my hair. And I would do that every week because that's how I style my hair. Right. I've gotten it down to like my braid out yesterday. That's what this is. This took less than an hour. That was the first time I've ever styled my hair in less than an hour. And, that was
congrats. That's huge.
I know. I mentioned that in the video. Like I could hardly believe it.
Right.
And my twist outs probably take about an hour, maybe an hour, 5 minutes. But still, to do that every single week, and I start washing my hair after work.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I was getting to sleep around 2 a.m. because of my schedule. I pre-poo at 4. I finish work at 5. I go work out at 5. I have to take back my kids at 6. So if I do like a 13-minute workout, and then I go take my kids, and then I go wash my hair, put in my deep conditioner, then I'd have to take my kids. So I have to take like a 2-hour break before I can go rinse out my deep conditioner. Then I would have dinner, and then I would go to start styling my hair at like 11 o'clock at night and finish around, you know, after midnight, around 1.
How long are you sleeping?
I don't sleep, but that's only because Layla doesn't let me. She's 21 months and she still doesn't really sleep through the night. So I'm just not used to it anymore. I mean, I'd love it, but I don't really sleep as much anymore.
Oh wow!
But I'd like to when I don't sleep, I would prefer it because of Layla, not because I'm up doing my hair. So you know,
no, for sure.
there is that. But yeah, I guess my struggles. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like I guess my struggles are my ends because as I mentioned, they are. It's harder to keep them moisturized. But I also solved that problem probably 6 or 8 weeks ago when I started putting mango butter on my ends as part of my styling process. Because I noticed that my ends became like, if you look at them, they don't look like dry and
dry at all
like they used to. And I guess because I started adding mango butter because from the day that I did it, it changed my ends. So that's no longer a struggle.
Butter. How often do you add the mango butter?
I add it when I style. So I add it every Friday because Friday's my wash.
Friday, once a week. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't reapply anything. When I do my hair on Fridays, that is it. I don't touch my hair again until my next wash day. So I don't. Aiden just asked me if you're a lawyer. That was a really random question. Why are you asking?
Yes, I am.
That's so weird, buddy. But how do you know that? That was really random. Anyway.
He's very smart.
but yeah, so yeah, I would say like my ends used to be like very recently they were my struggle. Detangling I would say isn't my struggle anymore. It used to be, and right now it's just time. Time is my main issue because everything takes such a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you manage that? Like, I guess, well, doubling up on tasks, right?
How do I manage it? I mean, like, I would say that I haven't really, well, okay, yesterday was the first day that I finished my hair before dinner. The problem is, like, you know, I have kids. So that kind sorry, hold on a second. Aiden, can you close the door? He left already. Okay, I'm not gonna close the door. All right. So my main struggle is that I have kids and they are, you know, in every aspect of my life and my day. So I have a nanny. So she's helpful during the day. But I mean, when I stop working, an hour later she stops working. You can't wash your hair and style it in an hour. So I kind of have to work around things. Like so I said, like I will try to wash and apply my deep conditioner before I take them back at 6.
Right.
But then, you know, I got to make their dinner. I got to, you know, help watch them. I mean, obviously. And my husband puts Layla to bed, but I still like to spend some time with her in the evening. So we then end up eating and like, it always end up just being a late night. And then I have to go do my hair. So I would say I wasn't really managing it well. It's just the only difference is that now that I can work in bigger sections and it takes less time to braid or style my hair. And this is just as of yesterday or 2 days ago. I think it's just doing a better job of styling my hair. And I was able to do it quicker this time. But like if I'm going to do something that takes an hour and a half, I can't do it like in the middle of the evening when everyone's still awake.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And I think the struggle that I had also was for the last 8 weeks, for some reason or another, I haven't had work on Fridays. So I was able to wash my hair during the day, which made a huge difference. So I have to readjust to doing it actually after work on Fridays, which again, like because I was able to style my hair yesterday quickly, it worked. So, yeah.
We're just going to establish the room. Today we're talking about natural hair. We're doing a natural hair chat with Amanda from Uptight Curls by Amanda. So Amanda has joined us today, everybody, to give us a kind of an idea of like what her natural hair regimen is like and her pain points and her struggles, which we're kind of talking about now and how she overcomes them. Because you guys know so much about fine strands, but I don't think we know as much about, you know, more coarser strands, thicker strands, strands that are able to withstand a bit much. And speaking of withstanding, like, do you kind of like use that for your advantage and kind of do whatever you want, or are you still very soft with it? Because we kind of talked about it yesterday, but I want to dive in a bit more.
Yeah, so it's well, I don't know if it's funny, but I mean it's interesting to me because yesterday Lavinia was on my channel and we talked about her fine strands, because on my channel we talk about my hair specifically and my hair is coarse. So I feel like we established that my routine or my low manipulation strategy pretty much coincides with yours, because even though my hair is not fine, I still don't want to lose it. So I understand like coarser textures, they can take heat better. You can, you know, be a little bit more lax with like you can use tools, like you can use combs to detangle your hair. I don't treat my hair any differently. I follow a very, very, very low manipulation routine, although I don't do protective styling. And I think that might be the difference between coarse strands and fine strands. If I leave my hair out, it's not susceptible to just breakage at the time, like just at its own will. I feel like my hair is better able to withstand things, although I normally do wear a hat, and I guess you could consider that a protective style as well, like a silk cap.
For sure.
But yeah, I don't protective style, and I think this is because my hair is coarse and it's relatively high density. It's very difficult for me to style it. So, and to like tuck it beneath a wig. I've never been able to make a wig look normal. So I just stopped doing that. And I feel like with finer textures, my older sister has very fine hair, which again, I just discovered recently because I never really used to pay attention to hair. And it just strikes me at how soft and more manageable her hair is. But yes, it's fragile and it's very prone to breakage. So I would say that I only finger detangle, and I started doing that a few months ago because I realized that my Denman brush was literally pulling out my hair, because I was noticing that when I would comb my hair, like if I would hold it out to the side, I would see all these holes because I was just like, they were just gaps. And I don't think it wasn't from my routine. It wasn't from my hair falling out. I also just thought about like, oh, when I'm done combing my hair, there's only so much hair in my Denman brush. I assumed it was just like shed hair. It was not shed hair. It was pulling my hair out. So from the day I realized that,
How can you tell the difference when your hair is like shedding versus like actually ripping out? Like,
So I feel like I wasn't really inspecting it back then, but you know if it's shedding because you see the bulb in your hair. So like your hair is falling out just like every single day, like throughout the day, just by like biology reasons. Like your hair sheds, so it's a natural thing.
of course.
So like on wash day, if I see like a short piece of hair, I get concerned because I'm like, that's breakage. But if you see like a full strand of hair come out and you see like a bulb on it where it was attached to your hair follicle, you know that that is shedding. So it's just like I was pulling out long strands of hair, but they weren't shed. They were just like being, you know, pulled from my scalp or just broken from my strands. So, and I would say that I'm confident that that was the reason because, as I mentioned, I stopped using tools from that day. Like I didn't even use a fine tooth comb. Like I didn't use anything. I didn't use a fine tooth at my end to coil my ends, even though my ends I was afraid of tools at that point. So I put down the tools and I've been finger detangling. The only reason I started recently incorporating a wide tooth comb again is because my hair tends to get very frizzy. And I was noticing that, you know, you have to take into account aesthetics as well. My hair was looking very frizzy. Like with my styles, I needed to be combing from the roots. So I started combing from the roots. I don't touch my ends with the comb unless I have finger detangled it. So my process for detangling my hair now is that I detangle under running water or with a slippery conditioner. Although the only time that I will run a comb through my hair with a slippery conditioner, not under running water, is when I'm reviewing a product. Outside of that, I actually don't do that. So I like to detangle my hair under cool running water. It doesn't even have to have in product. I just find that water provides a lot of that slip. But I will run the comb through my hair. As soon as I feel resistance, I take the comb out and I finger detangle the rest, because otherwise the comb will go through and it's snapping my hair, and I don't want it to do that. So I feel like that has, I think it's made a big difference, because you saw my 1 year like blow dry video. Like my hair has retained a ton of length in the last few months, and I think it's because I'm pulling out less hair.
Right.
So
Ruby has a question. She says, what are your guys' views on the no oil, no butter wash day? So for fine hair, I think it's a fantastic thing, no oil, no butter, because like the less that you pull the strands down, the less you weigh them down, the better. I feel like for coarse hair though, and most of the people who I see here on YouTube are talking about coarse hair when they seem to talk about no oil, no butter. I don't know, like for me personally, I think it could work really well. For coarse hair, I'm not sure. Amanda, what do you think?
So, hey, Ashley, thank you for joining. Glad to see you here. So no oil, no butter. I've actually not heard of this being like a trend recently. I know that oil is a very controversial thing for one reason or another, but I review products like the collections as I come across them. So like I don't really target or try to specifically avoid a product other than if I don't like the ingredients. So I've only used a few butters in my time. I've only reviewed a few brands that include butters. And I find that in those wash days, I have the same kind of results versus if I use a styling cream. So I don't have a problem with butter. The only thing that I do think about butters is that they're not very slippery. And that is the one kind of issue that I have, because I do like a slippery product because I don't like to do much detangling. When it comes to oil, for me, I think oil is for either to put directly on your scalp for like stimulating hair growth, or I think it's for sealing. I think a lot of people apply oil and they expect it to like moisturize your hair, but like stylists will tell you and like chemists will tell you like oil is not for moisturizing your hair. So I don't think an oil is necessary, but if you want to have shine, I think an oil is a great thing to put on top of your hair as soon as you're done with your styling routine. So I always use a leave-in, and then I use either a cream or a butter, and then I use an oil.
But I don't think you necessarily need the oil. Like I think that
you don't need it. I think it's just for sheen.
Yeah, like all the products have oil in them anyway. So it's just like, it's like some type of a mix. So it's like, you wouldn't, like, whereas before, like at the beginning of the natural hair movement back in 2009, 2008, 2007, if you didn't have oil, like, I don't know, like you had issues. But now, like, we've come so far where it's like, you know, there's all these great ingredients and like, you know, aloe vera juice and you know, mango, whatever extract, like you need they put the oil in there to kind of, you know, keep things together. So,
So that's another thing. I feel like some oils are better than others.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I really like the melanin multi-use oil.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good oil.
Yeah.
And I like it for, it's not for moisture, but I feel like it provides some kind of like light, just like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like a very light oil. It provides a good amount of shine, and it
Yeah.
has really good ingredients in it. So I feel like it's doing good things to my hair.
Mhm.
But then there's other oils that I don't particularly like. Like I'm not going to put castor oil as my sealing oil.
I don't like castor oil.
I use oils that have some kind of, that have amazing ingredients. And I always do my ingredient reviews before I review my products. So I don't use like one oil mixtures. I think that's the difference. Like I'm not going to just take almond oil and put it in my hair. I'm not going to just take, cocoa acid. No, that's a butter. I'm not just going to take like, vitamin E oil and put it on my hair. I like the mixtures, because the thing I like about oils is that, so my opinion on this whole no oils trend, because I know that is something, I feel like there are some people that have scalp issues. If you have psoriasis, or you have sores, or you have something very specific that is borderline, if not completely medical, and oils irritate your scalp, by all means, don't use them. But I feel like outside of that, if you use an oil and it's anti-inflammatory, it's antioxidant, it is scalp stimulating, it is by increasing the blood circulation to your scalp, because it happens to have an ingredient that does that, and it has all of these different benefits, I just can't imagine what would be the reason to say, oh, don't use this because oils are no good for you.
No.
So in my experience, I mean, like if I'm using something that, has all these great effects, and it's light, and it feels good, then I'm going to keep using it. Yeah. So I don't see the need to just like ban them from your routine unless you have some kind of medical or otherwise reason to not use them.
I think that's a fantastic point, because I feel like if you, like you said, like if there's actually no medical reason, then like why, like you don't necessarily need to ban it, right? Because like,
and as much as I don't think this is a great thing, but I also, and I can attest to this because, I watch YouTube videos, or I watched I learned everything that I learned about natural hair up until my big chop from YouTube. Right. Now I learn about it through experimentation. But if there was a natural hair YouTuber that I watched religiously while I was transitioning, or when I first big chop, and she went on video and said, don't use oils, I would be like, oh, I gotta go throw out all my oils. So I feel like a lot of things, even if they're not properly explained or backed up with some kind of reason, people jump on that bandwagon, and I feel like that a little bit gets lost in translation, kind of like telephone, where you get like a few people removed, and you're like, why are you not using oil? And it's like, I don't actually know. I feel like someone told me not to use oils. So,
I know there's a lot of those. Remember the whole inversion thing? I mean, shout out to
I wasn't natural back then, but I've heard about it. And if you want to increase the blood circulation to your scalp,
just massage it.
Oil that increases the blood circulation to your scalp with a lot of those ingredients. And if you go on my website, I have like my ingredients database. There are so many products. There are so many ingredients that increase blood circulation to your scalp. And obviously increasing blood circulation, it helps to improve your follicles, and it, all that what is that? Hold on a second.
Uh-oh, what happened? We lost you.
I don't know what. Okay, sorry. I just got a weird pop-up on my phone, on my iPad. Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, there's so many ingredients that naturally increase the blood circulation on your scalp, and that obviously promotes growth. So I don't agree with this whole no oils thing. I feel like it probably originated from someone that had an issue with their scalp, and they just and they were just like, because of that reason, we should not use oils. But it means that you should not use oils. So that's the way that I see it.
Use them. Like, how often do you use oils on your scalp for growth?
I actually, this video hasn't gone out yet, but I actually was thinking that same question, because I review products on my channel. Like, that is something that I do on a weekly basis.
And you do it very well.
Thank you. And most of the products most of the product collections that I review, they come with an oil. So I will use them for 3 weeks, and then I'll give my thoughts about them. I'm not lying or anything like that, but sometimes it's kind of hard to say whether or not I like an oil. So when it comes to an oil, I'm not going to say, oh, this is definitely anti-inflammatory. I'm sure it's an antioxidant, and I'm sure it's promoting my scalp, my hair growth, because how can I say that? So when I'm reviewing oils, it's just like, oh, this provided great sheen, or, it's a nice light oil. But like, what does it mean to be a nice light oil? So my idea is I found all of the growth oils in my stash, and there were probably like 13 of them. I'm going to be using them in turn. So like usually I would use a collection. When I finished with their products, I would move on to the next. But you can't judge an oil over 3 weeks. So now I'm going to be using my oils until I finish them. And I'm going to see if I notice anything different once I start using different oils. So right now I'm using the Bloom Super Potent hair growth oil from Soultanicals. Yep. So I started using it week 1 of my Soultanicals review. I finished the review 2 weeks ago, but I'm still going to use it. I'm going to use it until I'm done with it. So I have actually been using it every night or every other night. I don't want to use it every night because I don't want to get like buildup on my scalp, because I want my follicles to be able to breathe. Because when you stop up your follicles, that can lead to inflammation because the sebum has nowhere to escape and it just provides all this buildup, creates dandruff and a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. I've done a lot of research. So yeah. But anyway, so I probably use it like every other day. And I'm going to use it every other day until I'm done. And then I follow up with my scalp massager. Although to maintain my styles, I drape a silk scarf on my head, and then I use my scalp massager on top of that. And that's just like a really cool hack for not messing up your roots and making them frizzy. So
we have a question coming in from Carl Alphonse. He says, what's the benefit of using oil? So the benefits of using oil, there's a lot of them. Like there's the hair growth piece. There's also the sealant piece. What else is there? People use it as pre-poos to soften their hair. I think that's probably where the misconception came about. Like, does it moisturize the hair? Because it doesn't.
So, to your point, so there are a lot of uses for oil. So they can use it as a sealant. And when you say it's a sealant, that means that it locks in the moisture. So a lot of naturals, myself included, you use a leave-in, then you'll use a styling cream or a styling butter. Right. And then to make sure you lock in all of that moisture so it doesn't escape your strands, you then put it on with a sealing oil. So the difference between a sealing oil and a growth oil, they would just have different oils in them. I don't remember offhand which ones are sealing oils, which ones are penetrating oils. Right. So you have to check my website for that. But so yeah, they can be used as a sealant to lock in the moisture from your hairstyle. They can be used as a pre-poo because when you apply oil to your hair in the beginning, like as a hot oil treatment, the idea is that it is supposed to help to close the cuticles so your hair doesn't swell from the from too much moisture or something from washing your hair. Or it's supposed it has nothing to do with swelling. I think when you do that, it's supposed to sorry, let me think for a second. Okay. I'm gonna have to look this up, but this is okay. You're supposed to use them in the beginning because when you put an oil in, it is supposed to stop your hair from swelling, I think, and it's supposed to help stop your hair from drying out from using a shampoo.
I mean, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I'm fuzzy on this one because I learned about it a really long time ago, and that was why I started pre-pooing. Yeah. But it is supposed to help to not moisturize, because they don't moisturize your hair, but it's supposed to stop your hair from drying out from putting in a shampoo. Because only recently, and I would say probably in the last several years, they have a lot of moisturizing shampoos, where in the past, shampoos tended to be stripping. So you need to prep your hair. So the oil is supposed to serve as a prep. I can't get more specific than that because I don't want to just keep like stuttering around. I don't remember the specific reason, but that's why you use it as a pre-poo. But I also use it as a pre-poo on my scalp, not just my hair strands, to prep my hair, because that's when you should use a growth oil. Because when you want to get the benefits from an oil, it's better to heat it up because it helps it to penetrate your hair and your scalp. So that's why I use it as a pre-poo. And then the other reason is as a penetrating oil. So there are oils that penetrate your hair strands, and while they're not moisturizing your hair strands, they can help with things like a lot of them are antioxidant, a lot of them are anti-inflammatory. So that and the antioxidants, that just means that it is helping to fight free radical damage, which is something that you get from even eating fatty foods or just too much UV rays or just like other chemicals that you'll find in the air. It helps to protect your hair from that. So
sorry, Amanda, there's another question coming in. How often?
Sorry, I was going on too long on the other one anyway.
No worries. No worries. How often do you both seem to trim your ends? So that's a great question. I usually trim my ends every 3 months or so, but because we're in the lockdown that never ends here in Ontario, our salons are actually closed. So I did my trim today myself, actually, just like I use the twist method. So in terms of trimming ends, if you're doing it on your own, I would say whenever you start seeing a little bit more breakage, whenever you start seeing like wispy ends, your curls aren't really clumping, no matter what you do, old products aren't making your hair's not responding to it the way it used to, chances are likely that you probably need a trim. So For me personally, I used to be like hardcore every 3 months when things were open, but now things are not. So I did it myself today, and it will be again once every 3 months. So I don't know, like, how about you? Like, usually coarse strands can probably get away with less trims than that. Fine strands need to be trimmed a lot more often because everything can make them break, everything can make them rip. And so you really want your ends to be as clean as possible. I tried the whole not trimming my ends very often thing, and it didn't work out very well. Like, it was all over the place, different lengths. It wasn't retaining length. It was terrible. So Amanda, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Like, what do you do? How often do you trim your hair?
So I'll try to keep this close. I feel like I keep going off on tangents and all my answers. So I have I guess you could call it a series on my channel. So I do like a blow dry every 3 months. At this point, it's pretty much become a length check. It used to be called length check. It used to be my like rev iron trim because I would blow dry my hair and then trim it. But I don't really need to do that as much because I actually follow the search and destroy method. So just like whenever, like normally when I'm sitting at my desk working, I have scissors at my desk, like hair shears. I don't cut my hair with anything other than hair shears. I get a lot of single strand knots. Single strand knots can destroy your hair if you keep them in. And also any growth that you get below that single strand knot is pretty much just like no, because you have to cut that hair. So I will just search my hair for single strand knots and cut them at the time. So I actually trim my hair all the time. I don't care about evenness because I wear my hair in its curly state. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter if I'm cutting like a whole bunch of stuff in here and I'm not cutting anything over here. I'm not trying to make it even. I'm trying to make it healthy. So I want to make sure that I have healthy ends. So in the front, like these areas, I find that I get split ends. I had not been getting split ends for the longest time, but I recently noticed them. And I'm not going to, if I see a split end, I'm not going to wait 3 months to trim it. I will trim it right then and there. So I trim my ends when I see that there's something that needs to be trimmed, or if I'm looking at a piece of hair, because I often just like look at my hair. If I see a strand of hair and it looks like it's a little bit see-through at the bottom where it was otherwise really coarse, that just looks weak and it's probably going to end up being something I don't like. So I'll just trim it. So I don't have a trimming routine anymore. At this point, it's just a length check every 3 months, and I will trim my hair almost daily. So I would say because every single day, without fail, I cut at least a few strands of hair.
But it's not a lot you're cutting.
I would think that it is, because I remember I was afraid coming up to my 9-month and my 12-month because I cut so much hair. But I have a good amount of hair, so I'm not losing it, because I was sure that with all of the single strand knots that I was cutting, I was going to have no length anymore, because while you have 2,200 strands of hair every square inch on your head, like that's the average. I still felt like I was probably cutting like 1,000 strands of hair in a single week, but I wouldn't, and it's not affecting my growth at all. So I would just say, when I was a teenager and I had relaxed hair, I would fight any hairdresser that wanted to cut even like a 1/4 inch of my hair. I don't care anymore. Like I just want my hair to be healthy, and I cut my hair all the time, no hesitation whatsoever. Like if often in my videos, I'll be in the middle of a sentence, I'll like touch my hair, feel a single strand out, I'll reach out and grab my scissors, cut that, and keep going. Like I don't think about it.
Speaking of your scissors, Amanda, because out here, there's a question. I'll remember my question. Actually, let me ask it quickly. What scissors do you use?
I don't remember which ones they are. I mean, I got them on Amazon. They're on my website. I have like a natural hair must-haves, which is pretty much my natural hair must-haves. It's everything I use from wash day to wash day. So I have like wash day items, and then I have like my through the week items. So I think I have the hair shears there. But I mean, they're not special. They were probably like $50. I feel like if you find a pair of shears for $15 or like $20, they're probably not good enough.
They're not good.
You're probably going to have to replace them. And I don't use my scissors on anything but my hair.
Your hair.
But yeah, you just need a pair of sharp shears. That's really all you need. I don't think that I mean, obviously there's going to be some that are better than others that might be more sustainable. And I actually need to replace mine at this point, but I've had them for 2 years.
You replace them like once every year or 2 years or something?
And I'm coming up to 2 years, and I've noticed that they're a little bit, like, I think I went to go cut a piece of hair a couple days ago, and it didn't feel like a clean cut. And I was like, it's time to replace these. These need to go. Because the problem that a lot of people have is they trim their hair with dull scissors. And they trim their hair, and they just create more damage.
Issues. Yeah, there's a question coming in. It says, would you agree that argan oil is the best for hair growth? I'm a male and I find it locks in moisture. What works best for you? That's a great question. So argan oil is something that, it's very expensive. If you find true, pure argan oil, it's very expensive. the benefits of it are innumerate. Like there's so much benefits to argan oil, which is why it's so expensive. So the number one thing when you're purchasing that oil, I think, is to make sure that it's 100% argan oil, because there's a lot of derivatives out there. There's a lot of synthetics. Like there's one from One and Only that I'm remembering. Smells delicious. You could buy it from Sally's Beauty, but it actually only has a portion of actual argan oil in it, and then the rest of it is like dimethicone and like all these other like silicones in there, which really don't do anything for your hair except coat. So I would say that I don't know if it's the best for hair growth per se. For me personally, what the best thing for hair growth has been those blends that Amanda was talking about earlier. So like I really like the Alake Naturals. I think it's 17 something hair oil. I mean, there's a list of favorites that I have as well too. But Amanda, what do you think? Because you've tried a couple of these now, right?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say, again, I guess because I don't review something and like pretty much until it's complete, I can't isolate like what is the best oil for hair growth. I would say argan oil, I can just say like it's not the best oil because there are so many oils out there, so many that people aren't even aware of. And while you were talking, I actually just looked it up on my website. If you go to uptightcurls.com, you can't see it, but anyway, I have like an ingredients page. So I'm just looking at what I had here for argan oil. So it's anti-inflammatory, which will help you with dry scalp, itchy scalp, and inflammation is just a big thing. It just disrupts the normal functioning of your body's cells. So it's anti-inflammatory, which is amazing, but most things are anti-inflammatory when you come across ingredients. It's an antioxidant, so it fights that free radical damage that I talked about before. It encourages blood flow and cell regeneration for healthier hair and scalp. So that means that it promotes blood flow, and blood flow is good for hair growth. It strengthens your hair follicles, which is obviously if you have strong follicles, you're going to have strong hair growing out of those follicles. It reduces hair loss by doing all of these things, and it's good for conditioning the hair. It doesn't say moisturizing, but like I've read it, like I don't know what the difference between conditioning and moisturizing is, but a lot of oils also condition your hair. It's rich in fatty acids, vitamins A and E, and it's also a natural heat protectant. So as oils go, it does have a lot of benefits, but there are also so many other oils that have just as many, if not more. So it really depends on what it is that you're looking for. What I recommend you do is like, if you have specific concerns, I mean, again, I'm going back to my website because this is what I use as my own resource. And I put this together based on several months of research. Like if you have dandruff, you go and you type in dandruff and you'll find all of the oils that target dandruff. So it really, I can't say that it's the best for hair growth because I feel like there's so many oils that are good for hair growth. So I would just say in general, finding something with antioxidants that are anti-inflammatory, that strengthen your hair follicles, that will, increase blood circulation. There's just so many things out there. You just want to find an oil that does all of those things. But as Lavinia mentioned, I tend to not use just a single oil because so many different oils have benefits that it's great to just have them all in one place. And then you combine them with like Ayurvedic herbs, and it's just like next level, which is why I love Bo Peep, because it's an Ayurvedic brand, and she has oils that are specifically good for low porosity hair versus high porosity hair. So like she's done that research, and she has put together a blend of oils that is just fantastic for your scalp. And I also feel like the oil is great for your scalp. I wouldn't necessarily recommend oils as reparative for your hair strands.
So speaking of Bo Peep and speaking of your website and all those kinds of things, I guess my question is twofold. So number one, you kind of spoke about like what the reason why you created the website to kind of keep all this information in one spot. But I guess the other question that I wanted to get to was like, what do you look for when you're looking for a product for your COARSE Strands? Like what consistency, what texture, what kinds of things are you kind of looking for?
I prefer a thicker texture. I will 100% come out and say that just based on my experience reviewing products for over a year at this point. But when it comes to what I'm looking for in a product and what I'm willing to review, because again, my channel is every single week I review products. So I have a whole queue of products to review, but I don't check consistency. I check ingredients. So if you have ingredients that I'm happy with, you're not using fatal preservatives. Sorry, that's a little bit dramatic, but preservatives that include formaldehydes or release formaldehydes in some way, or they're toxic if you have them in like a room with steam, like, or if they are, going to disrupt your organ functioning. Like, I make sure that you don't have any, bad preservatives in your product. I will make sure that you have in you know, a good blend of just like I love kupuasu butter. I love amla. I love fenugreek. I love, there's just acai. And then I love seeing hibiscus and things. Hibiscus is one of those just like, it has so many benefits. And even there's like a lot of chemical ingredients like cocamidal propyl butane. That's like a good like sulfate. It's a surfactant. So it's a good like sulfate alternative. So those are the kind of things that I look at. I don't just look at like, you know, like the stuff that comes out of the ground. I'm also looking at the chemical ingredients that I know are, you know, are particularly good. So yeah, I would say that, I mean, like, yes, I wanted to consolidate all of the information, but the whole motivation behind my creating my website was to allow you to search for products by ingredients. So like that was like the main purpose when I first launched. I have my product finder, so you can search for things with amla without you know, shea butter, or you know, you can have any combination that you want based on what's in my drop down, and you can find products that do or don't even contain that. If I find a product that I'm not okay with the ingredients, I won't review it, because there's so many brands out there that, you know, that I'm like, in my stash, most people haven't heard of a lot of these brands. Because you just have to look for them. I mean, all the ones that you can see, you've probably heard of. But outside of that, there are so many brands that have just like amazing ingredients, but they don't have the budget for like the big promotion. So you just don't see them. But I'm looking for them. So I'm digging them out of the ground and finding them and reviewing them. But
your website is so amazing. Like, I saw your website, but I need to get back on it again, because like I feel like there's so much more things that have been added. But
I try to work on it every single weekend. And Nick is like part of the whole like back end database sort of thing. So like the product finder has also evolved a lot, and like I'm trying to add ingredients, and I have a no list where I list out all the things that I specifically do not use in my products. Outside of the original, like I don't have mineral oils, and I don't know if I have sulfates in there. I don't know if I have silicones, because those are the obvious things. But there are things that people don't know whether or not they should avoid them. So that's what I'm trying to populate there.
So we've got a question coming in. It says, how often do you both do protein treatment / protein deep conditioners? Fantastic question.
Yeah, that's a great question, because we have two very different answers on that. So
very different answers. So for fine hair, Williams J, I used to do protein treatments, protein deep conditioners like every other week. So I would do it like maybe like once every 2 weeks. When I really didn't know what I was doing, once a month. When I truly like baseline, no knowledge, not at all. But now when you start to feel your hair more, you will definitely start to feel when it feels mushy, or when it's like just overly moisturized, has no real structure to it, and needs protein. So at this moment in my regimen, in my routine, I would say that I use some type of a protein every single wash day. So every wash day I'm using a protein that's, there's something called the Mayel Split End Therapy. I find it's amazing for like, it's a rice water, which is a protein. I find that's amazing. And I also use a protein treatment during my deep conditioning process. I would say like once every month-ish. So how often do I use proteins? Pretty much every single wash day, but a specific treatment meant for that, maybe once a month. Now, if things are going really crazy for my fine hair, and it's just like those soft protein treatments aren't really doing much for me, then I'll do like an Afro-G treatment like once every 6 months, or on an as-needed basis. But it's a very serious thing to have protein. And, you know, the balancing with protein thing is even comes down to like your moisturizers and your leave-in conditioners. I will flip-flop between a leave-in conditioner that has protein in it. So the Shea Moisture Jamaican Black Castor Oil leave-in protein, that's a very strong, for me anyways, leave-in conditioner that has protein. And then if my hair is feeling strong enough, then I'll switch over to something that has 0 protein. So I feel like it's a forever process of trying to balance, like, what does my hair feel like in this moment? Is it feeling hard? Is it feeling soft? And then kind of going from there. So I don't know, Amanda, what your regimen looks like.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is a fine versus coarse strands, but I actually don't pay as much attention to protein. When I first went natural, or like as I was approaching my big chop, I had a very set routine, but I think it's also just my personality to have a very set routine. I would do 2 weeks of moisturizing deep conditioners, 1 week with a clay wash, which I just saw as like my clarifier. And then I would do a protein treatment, but like a protein treatment, like back then I was using the Shea Moisture, Manuka, and yogurt.
Ooh, that's a nice product.
Punch, whatever that thing was. And then I also used the Mayel, the one that you really like, the Baobab and the Babasu and mint one. So I used to do that. So I would rotate between those every 4 weeks. But then I started my channel and I started just reviewing products. So at this point, I just review products. If it happens to be a protein, you know, treatment, then I'll do that.
I love
But that being said,
Yeah.
so I got away with that from, let's say I probably started doing reviews so April of 2020 was when I really went deep with the reviews. Only a few weeks ago, I started noticing that my hair had gotten very elastic. Like it didn't feel mushy. It didn't feel over moisturized, but it felt different. And I pay a ton of attention to my hair every single week. So like I was like, this is not normal. Like I was detangling my hair, like my hair would stretch out to like this.
Yeah, no,
and then it would either revert back or it wouldn't, but I'm like, this is different.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit annoyed because I was in the middle of I was about to start my next brand, and like I had my whole calendar set, and I was like, am I really gonna have to break to do a protein treatment? Plus I was scared because I knew it was happening. So I actually I used this. This is the Bo Peep Aria strengthening conditioner with Ayurvedic herbs. And this goes back to my whole thing with talking about ingredients. There are protein treatments, like the soft protein treatments that you mentioned. Like I feel like the Mish Strengthen is relatively soft. The Mael product is soft. They're soft moisturizing deep conditioners. Moisturizing protein treatments. I don't think those are strong ones.
No.
But coming back to ingredients, there are so many, like particularly Ayurvedic ingredients that have strengthening properties. They will strengthen your hair strands, and that's exactly what the proteins do. So I feel like you don't necessarily have to do a regimen of doing X number of protein treatments, X number of weeks. And I'm talking about for my hair. I do agree that it's probably different for fine strands, but as long as you have a regimen of regularly using strengthening ingredients, I think it's going to keep that, it's going to do right by you maintaining that moisture and protein balance. But that being said, I didn't end up breaking. I think it was the first week of Soultanicals. And because I had heard that Soultanicals was so moisturizing, I was like, I'm going to use Soultanicals and my hair is just going to fall out because it's going to be over moisturized.
Yeah, no.
But luckily that didn't happen. I pre-pooed with this deep conditioner. I don't normally pre-poo with a deep conditioner, but I did this because this is a strengthening treatment. My hair likes henna, and henna is the first ingredient in here. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this out. If it doesn't fix my problem, I will look into this. I will take a week off. I will get like a real protein treatment and I'll fix it. So but I only need to do this once. So I think it's more a matter of paying. Then you mentioned this too, Lavinia. You need to pay attention to your hair.
Yes.
I was washing my hair one day and I was like, this doesn't feel right. And I took care of it immediately. I think if I had gone through 3 weeks of using Soultanicals and not paid close attention, I would have had a problem. Yeah. And also I looked at the Soultanicals products that I was using, and while they were all protein free, the rice water shampoo, the butter shampoo, and it also had an MSM, which I think is also strengthening, and some other, it was very low down the list, but it had 2 things that were very strengthening. And my hair is fine now. Like it's perfectly fine. So yeah, I think you don't have to just say, like the same thing with the trimming. You don't have to trim every 3 months, every 4 months, every like 19 weeks. I think you just need to pay attention to your hair on a regular basis and act accordingly.
Yeah. So there's another question. That's amazing, Amanda. Thank you so much. Like you're just a wealth of knowledge. I love it. Zal1234 says, I believe that a good sleep schedule is the best non-oil remedy for hair health. How important is a healthy lifestyle for hair? I think it's very important. I did notice, so you hear very often just kind of like in articles and like in the health and wellness space that like, you know, if your body isn't healthy, or if you're really stressed out, then you start to get sick, or your hair doesn't grow as well, and all those kinds of things. And I used to think, whatevs, like just work hard, right? Stress is like this kind of in the air type of, you know, hippy dippy thing. Like everybody has stress until it happened to me. You know, like my hair literally stopped, like it felt like it stopped growing. And sure enough, as I started to have like more shedding, sure enough, as I started to not enjoy length retention as much as I was before, then I had a health event. Thank God the health event is gone, but it was all stressing you. So I would say healthy lifestyle is very important for your hair because your body is going to work hard to stay alive. And like stress can't stay on the body that long. It's not like the things that need to go to your hair for your hair to grow longer. Your body's literally just trying to stay alive. So like this is the last thing that your body cares about. So I don't know, Amanda, what's your thoughts on that? Because
I've actually done a few videos on this particular topic very recently. So it's just something. So I guess when you say that a good sleep schedule is the best non-oil remedy for hair health, I can't attest to that because, as I mentioned, I haven't slept in like 22 months.
Oh my gosh.
Because Layla's 22 months probably, or 21 months, and she doesn't sleep, so I don't get to sleep. Like it's not one of those things that I get to enjoy. So that being said, I am 1 year natural, and my hair it's probably like around here at this point. So I mean, like I've had some good growth. I mean, I transitioned for 11 months, so this is not it's a 1 year and 11 months of growth. But I think I'm doing a really good job of growing my hair and maintaining that length. But I don't sleep. But the thing that I do is eat a healthy diet. And I just did a video on this probably a few months ago. I follow a plant-based diet. So I did a video.
How long have you been following?
I went vegan. It was probably around June of 2020.
Good for you.
So I'm coming up on a year, and I did a video on foods for healthy hair growth, because I don't think, not as that I don't think, I mean, like it's a biological, like biology backs you up in health, or not biology, but whatever it is, food health, nutrition. There are foods that will help you grow your hair, but I think they're going to help you grow your hair. You have to work to maintain your length, because it comes to putting your hair in the best shape to be able to grow. Your hair is going to grow at a specific speed. That is genetic. That I understand. But you want to also attain that highest rate of growth. And I think that there are foods that can help you do that. So nutrition is very important. And one of the videos that I did recently, I thought it was a very important video, because despite the fact that I eat a healthy diet, 2020 was a little bit of I don't even have to finish that sentence. I neglected my meals very often because I just wasn't in the mood to eat. So while I have a very nutrient-rich diet, I eat all of my greens, I don't eat sugar, I have a very healthy diet, I wasn't eating enough food. And because I'm vegan, I'm not getting the certain things that I would get from meat, because I just wasn't supplementing well enough, and I wasn't going outside. So I noticed a few weeks ago, because it was getting worse and worse, that my hair was shedding like at a ridiculous rate. And I was like, WTH. I use only amazing products in my hair. I have a healthy diet. Like I've always been a very healthy person. And it was kind of like a validation of this whole, like, your hair is not a priority, as you mentioned, Lavinia. If you are having some kind of deficiency in something, your body is going to send that to your organs. It's not going to send it to your hair. So my hair was shedding, and I found out, like, when I had my annual checkup, my iron's low, my vitamin D was low, and a couple of other things were low. And that made sense, because then my hair was shedding. A lot of people go to the routine. My routine for my hair is immaculate. And I will say that because I have spent like a year building it. Like, I think that my routine is perfect for my hair. My routine is good. My diet's good. And just like I have a generally healthy lifestyle, I work out and all that. I use great products. Why is my hair falling out? My hair was falling out because I had some health things going on. So
it's important.
I'm on vitamin D supplements. I am going outside every single day. I take a walk outside in the sun, although I'm wearing glasses and a mask. So I don't know how much vitamin D is actually going on my skin. I mean, not vitamin D. The sun doesn't, your body creates vitamin C when the sun hits your it's like a hormone thing. But anyway, but yeah, so I realized that, it just reinforced that you need to have a healthy body in order to have healthy hair, because you can't have healthy hair without a healthy body, because it's going to put that effort into maintaining your body.
Absolutely. So we've got another question coming in. So Mitsuko Blaze. Hi, Mitsuko. Mitsuko says, do you have any suggestions for dealing with single strand knots? Just come out. Yeah. And that's what makes it so hard with fine strands, because it's like there are always single strand knots. Like,
it's not even just fine.
Talking about it. You know what? It's all natural hair. That's
all hair.
It is.
The problem.
There's about 7 minutes left. So there's
just one more thing on this, though, because I had a huge issue with single strand knots in September, August of this year. And when I noticed that, what I did to combat it was to start wearing my hair, not protective styles, because I don't consider something that you wear for less than a week a protective style. Right. But I would put my hair up and I would tuck away my ends. That helped to reduce them, because I used to have what felt like thousands of single strand knots in my hair. Now, yes, I'm cutting out a single strand knot, throughout the day, but it is not what it used to be. And that's because throughout the fall and winter, I protected my ends. You get single strand knots because when you have a coily texture and your hair shrinks because it's healthy, it is coiling up on each other. And then you touch your hair and you are potentially like tying a knot. Sometimes I run my hair through my hands, and I had two pieces of hair. They happened to be coiled together. They didn't become a single strand knot until I was done putting my hand through my hair. So you have to be very cognizant when you're putting your hands through your hair, because you might be creating a knot as you're doing that. So I would say protect your ends and be very aware when you're running your hand through your hairs, because you might be creating knots if you have coiled hair at the bottom, because your hair is naturally coiling upon itself because of its characteristic. So that's how you create them. And how do you deal with them? You can't fix them because you can't untie the knot. You just have to cut them off because you don't want it to affect the rest of your hair. And plus, anything that grows below it, you're gonna have to get rid of anyway.
It's such amazing advice. Like, I even learned something there, like, you know, and I'm just like making mental notes as we go along. Williams J says, do you both wear silk bonnets and silk scarves, or both? So for me, I sometimes wear both. I used to just do silk bonnets, and then I realized that sometimes they fall off at night. And I do feel like your hair can move around a lot more with just a silk bonnet as opposed to a silk scarf. So for fine strands, it's all about control. It's all about protection, control.
Yeah, control.
You want the hair going in the same direction. I don't know what's worked for you, Amanda.
So I've had so many iterations of my bedtime routine. It evolves every 3 months, and it's based on my hair length. So at my current length, I do not actually wear a bonnet. Whereas before, if someone was to suggest to me that I went to sleep without a bonnet, I would look at them like they were crazy, and I would never do it. So what I do right now is that I still use silk, because I will only use silk, and obviously I use a silk pillowcase. I would love to get silk sheets, but I'm not that person. So I get 8 silk scrunchies, and to maintain my stretch, because I took out my hair yesterday, so this is my day 2 hair, but you see I still have all this definition and I have pretty good elongation. I take a silk scrunchie, I tie it at the roots to maintain the stretch, and then I tie it at the bottom because I want to avoid single strand knots, and because I want to maintain my ends because they tend to get a little bit wild. So I do a big crazy looking silk scrunchie here, and then I do that in all the 4 quadrants, and then I sleep on a satin pillowcase. Oh, sorry. And then I also wrap a silk scarf around my head. So it has a whole bunch of parts. In the past, I used to do the pineapple. Yep. Outside of before that, I would put it in, you know, just a silk scarf and not do anything with it. But I didn't like that because, as you said, they do fall out at night. And I also feel like when you do that, it's hard to get your hair right the next morning. You have to do way too much jumping up and down and shaking your head because you are bunching all of your hair up in a silk scarf, in a silk cap, and you're compressing it. So you have to then just you're probably creating knots potentially, depending on your hair length. And yeah, it's just harder to, it took me like 30 seconds to get my hair ready once I took off the silk scrunchie. So for me, that's been the best way. But during the day, I would say when I have my hair in a protective style, and when I say protective style, it just means protecting my ends, I will wear a silk scarf, or I will wear a silk scarf if I keep touching my hair, because I have to put it away just to train myself to stop touching it. Because if it's not out, I can't touch it. So right. I use it more of like a disciplinary act at this point.
I love that. Williams J asks, have you guys used the Green Beauty Real Protein Treatment? I've actually never heard of Green Beauty. You haven't either, Amanda. Yeah.
But although, sorry, one thing I forgot to mention, just a very quick thing. On UptightCurls.com on Product Finder, you can actually filter by products that contain and don't contain proteins. And I did that by finding all the proteins that were in the ingredient list in my database, and there are thousands of ingredients. So if anything had silk proteins in it, or it had in something else that was classified as a protein treatment, it would be classified under that. So if you're looking for products with protein, you can look there. I don't have Green Beauty. I've actually never heard of this before. Green Beauty is the name of the
it sounds like those indie, like smaller brands.
Or there's Green Beauty, the YouTube channel. I know that she has. I think she has products now. Also, I don't know if it's from that, because I know that she has a channel. It's very scientific, and I know a lot of people follow her. But yeah, I've never heard of this product before. I've never used a real protein treatment on my hair. I've only used like this. When I say I've never used, because I haven't needed to at this point.
Yeah, good for you. It's awesome.
But I've only been natural for a year. You've been natural for like 9 or 10.
Yeah.
So there's things coming down the pipeline I just haven't experienced yet.
Yeah.
But as strong as I've gone is just like the Me Strengthen, because it says protein treatment on it, or I guess the Mielle or the Shea Moisture. But yeah.
So we're touching on, and we're almost at an hour. We've got about a minute left. Any last words for the audience, Amanda, like that you'd like to share in terms of your journey, or like encouraging other people on their journey? Since
I would say that you should follow a lot of people, and I think you should take people's advice kind of like at an arm's length. You can see someone do something with their hair and it works really well, and I think you should try it, or you should think about your hair before you just start doing things. Especially when it comes to like me telling you what I do with my coarse hair. What I do with my coarse hair might not be the same thing that you need to do with your coarse hair. And plus, I feel like a lot of people's regimens differ. between coarse and fine hair. But as I said in the beginning, I feel like that there should be a lot more space in that Venn diagram, and in that like, you know, in that little oval in the middle. That was a really weird way of saying it. But anyway, there should be a lot more similarities.
It's so funny.
Like you should treat your hair with respect, I guess.
Yes.
And you should just low manipulation, don't bother it, and just you should treat it like I think everyone should treat their hair like they have fine strands. So that's kind of the way I see it, because I treat my hair like it's fine and it's growing and it's retaining length and it seems happy. So.
And if you have fine strands, you should really treat your hair.
Yeah, if you have fine strands, you should treat it like they're even finer than they actually are. If you have coarse strands, you'll only benefit from trying to treat it like fine strands. Except again, like I use thick products. I don't like thin products, but I will use my thick products like I'm dealing with really delicate hair.
Smart. I like that distinction. That makes sense. That's exactly what I would think you would do, because like weight products probably won't do anything.
I think that's the only concern. I think how you style your hair, and and the consistency of products. I think those are the only things that make a difference that will like lend to your routine. But in terms of like hair is hair. It's made up of the same. Actually, that's not true. Coarse hair and fine hair are actually made up of different components. I think coarse hair has 3 levels and fine hair has just 1. Sorry, this is going to go. I actually talk about that on my. I have a hair typing 101 page on my website, uptightcurls.com, where I talk about that specifically. Yeah. And by the way, I'm going to leave a comment on your page under this video to explain that whole thing I was saying about the pre-poo as the oiling, using an oil as a pre-poo, because I did a terrible job of explaining that because I don't remember it. So I'm going to go do that research, and I'm gonna put that.
That's awesome. Amanda's
dropping gems. I hate that I forgot that I was just like babbling. So I'm gonna rub it.
No, never babbling. You know what? It's because you're a plethora of information, and so there's just so much out there. And you're such a helpful spirit that like I feel like you want to like give people the information. So
it's crazy how much I love this. I mean, like I would love to do this like hair as my full-time job. And it's crazy to ever think about, because I never thought about hair before I started transitioning. So.
Well, I love talking to you. I feel like our audience has loved having you here. This weekend was so much fun. Like we talk all the time.
Yeah, we did back to back, and I still could probably talk for 4 hours, but I will let you go.
If I didn't have a work emergency, I probably would have gone a bit longer, but unfortunately,
you should probably take care of that.
Yes,
I should probably put more time into my real job also. Probably shouldn't say that online. But anyway,
that's okay. We'll live. Thank you so much everyone for watching. If you want to catch Amanda and watch one of her videos that has so much information, definitely go ahead and check out Uptight Curls by Amanda. Check out her website. That's uptightcurls.com. And yeah, if you're enjoying Find Natural Hair Rocks, definitely share with a friend, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next weekend.
And follow us both on Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram. Yeah, same thing.
And you can always DM him with questions.
Lovely.
I'm sure Lavinia too. Okay.
I love it.
I'll see you.
Bye, guys.